You're listening to Makin Mighty, the Challenger Sessions. I'm Simon Greenwood-Haigh, the fractional commercial lead for food and drink brands that think like challengers. So today, we're talking about the retail reality, what it really takes to get listed, and more importantly, what it takes to stay listed. I'm joined by Jasmine Wheelhouse, CEO of Taking the Pea, or the PEO, she calls herself, a challenger healthy snacking brand. Jasmine's really in the thick of it. So we're going to get into the unglamorous bits founders often miss: readiness, buyer expectations, and the work that happens after yes. So Jasmine, before we get into it, could you give everyone a quick 1 minute on who you are, what Taking the Pea is, and the brand's journey so far?
Yep, absolutely. So my name's Jasmine, and I'm the PEO, not the CEO of Taking the Pea. Taking the Pea is a snack brand. It's a healthy snack brand, and basically we have taken British-grown marrowfat peas, roasted and coated them, and turned them into a healthier snack that is based on the nation's favourite crisp flavours. The journey so far, it has actually been going for quite some time. And it's gone through a number of iterations of ownership, and then a number of iterations of people running it as well. And I took over about a year and a half ago, completely rehauled the brand, got rid of the bad stuff like the palm oil, the soy, and did a complete rebrand on the packaging as well. So it stands out, looks great on the shelf, and makes people want to pick it up, basically. So yeah, that is our journey in a nutshell so far.
So when you think of the word challenger in food and drink, in this space in particular, what does it mean to you?
Uh, I guess it's a difficult one to answer without actually using the word challenge, but it basically, to me, is someone that challenges the status quo. Like you see all of these brands that we've known growing up that are part of massive conglomerates that are owned by, people that have a hell of a lot of money. And, it's usually one company that owns so many different types of brands. And basically it's the little guy that's been like, actually, I think we can do this a little bit differently. This is what I want as a consumer. Let me try and put it into practice and actually build a brand around that. So yeah, in a nutshell, it would be a brand that challenges the status quo, challenges the big guys, does something a little bit differently.
I think certainly what I see for people I interact with, it's a mindset, it's a behavior, it's not a reference to size of business or number of people in the business. It is a behavioral thing. Does that kind of ring true?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters what size of business you are, how many people you've got, how much experience you've got, how much money you've got behind you, whether you've got investment or not. It is kind of how you're behaving and doing things differently, or how your product is different. Like we've got absolutely no bad stuff in our product. And when you look at the back of certain packets of things that, again, brands that I grew up with, and you can read through this crazy list of ingredients that you don't need all of it. And that ridiculously is what makes these brands kind of stand aside. So yeah, I definitely don't think it's to do with the size of the business or the amount of people that are in it. I think it's just a mindset and the way you operate and the kind of values that you believe in.
But for Taking the P in particular, what was the kind of inception point where you thought, or the business, if it was pre you, that this can genuinely work? This is something that we found something that people need, and we think it can genuinely challenge and make a difference.
So my journey with Taking the Pea has been from like content creator, designer to up into operations and now CEO. And the product was great to begin with. The concept was there. It was a healthy snack. It was challenging the crisp that everybody goes to on a day-to-day basis for their lunch, for snacks. Like it was using a vegetable that is grown in Britain, um, and is a really great sustainable vegetable. that we could then flip on its head and make a snack that ticked literally every box, like low calorie, high in fiber, high in protein, but also the key thing is that it still tastes great. And when I came on board and we did the rebrand and we redeveloped the recipes to have more flavor, where it actually packs a punch and you're like, oh my God, this is incredible, which I think we've got to now. That's when I was like, this is something that everybody needs. And it's not just something that I believe in, and obviously the team believe in. The biggest thing for us is that other people believe in it as well. And you can see that switch when we go to samplings and we say, do you want to try a pea snack? Which all the time I get a face that is like, oh no, I don't like peas, I don't like vegetables. And I'm like, no, just wait. And then they try it and you can see that switch flipping where they're like, oh yeah. And that is the continuous reminder that it is actually a great idea. It's a great product. And as soon as they try it, you know, they're going to love it.
Love that. I mean, they are samplings and consumers are, they're always very quick to tell you exactly what they fucking think, even if it's your baby and you spent hours over this thing. If they don't like the taste, they will tell you to your fucking face and not pull any punches. So when they do the opposite, you know they're also telling the truth, which is fucking great.
Exactly.
So what I really want to get into is some of the reality and some of the warts and all, I guess, of retail, working with retailers, trying to get their attention, pitching to retailers, some of that fun stuff without it seeming like it's all sunshine and rainbows, like I think we see on LinkedIn and places like that. So before you pitched to a retailer for the first time, what did you have to get right to be genuinely retail ready? Can you give us a clue on
that? Obviously the branding and the packaging. I think obviously the product as well, but those two things together literally mean fuck all. Pitching to retailers is probably one of the hardest things that I have ever had to do. And you might have noticed that I'm sat here in a pea costume. Some people say I look like a caterpillar, but it is in fact a pea pod. This piece of kit here cost me 20 quid from, just ignore it. This piece of kit here cost me 20 quid from Amazon. And it is genuinely the best piece of marketing that we've ever had to do, because we pitch to retailers and they don't respond to emails at all. And it is incredibly difficult. I know the product's there. I know that it looks great. And it's always about, what else can you do? How are you going to stand out? How are you going to stand out above the rest of the competitors? How much money can you put behind it? And what we've found is that going to samplings and going to trade shows and not being the people that are wearing the black t-shirt with the white logo and desperately trying to claw people into your stand to try a pea sample when there's thousands of other snacks there, actually just standing around in this outfit is the biggest buzz and the biggest attraction for people to come try us.
Cool. So what was harder than you expected about getting into retail, and what do you think most founders, most challengers underestimate in that process?
As I said previously, getting into retail is probably one of the hardest, or running a snack brand is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. There are so many hurdles, and the biggest hurdle, and I feel like this is probably going to be reiterated through anyone that you speak to in this industry that is calling themselves a challenger brand and trying to bring a product to market. The amount of ghosting from buyers is unreal. And I can understand it from the flip side. I bet that they are absolutely inundated with email after email after email. But for the person on the other side that's put their heart and soul into creating a product, doing the market testing, understanding what the market wants, and, you know, getting a genuine rate of sale from small independents and have a really decent case to go into retail, and a want is there, to actually not receive any response whatsoever in sometimes years. Like, I've got one person that I've been trying to get hold of for 18 months, and it's just like, I don't want to say rude, but I'm kind of like, come on, you could just say it's not for me. Or tell me what else I can do. Like, there are so many things that we would be happy to jump behind. And, you know, I'm sat here dressed as a Pea, and I'd be more than happy as the person running the business to actually go and stand in a supermarket dressed as a Pea, offering samples, to do, you know, whatever there needs to be done to make sure our product is a hit in a supermarket. Like, we're willing to do that. And I'm pretty certain that every other challenger brand is willing to do that. We just need to be given that chance. And that chance starts with a conversation.
I mean, I hear you. I've been both buyer and seller, and I empathise with both sides. But there has to. So interestingly, I was having a chat with a big orange retailer, let's say, and one of the things that the head of buying there was saying was they want to see younger, smaller brands going through the obstacle course a little bit, showing resilience, showing that they've got the determination to actually do the work once they get on shelf. I think that's got to count for something. I get it, and I don't think it's intentional. Maybe it's a subconscious thing. But if you're proving your resilience, your creativity, your determination, then that's also important to a buyer. But it's got to stand for something. And when you're getting ignored for 18 months in your example,
Yeah.
that's shit, isn't it? To be honest.
I mean, it's a cat. I guess that I mean, I don't know the answer because I've never been a buyer, and to be honest, I really wouldn't want that job. There has to be a middle point, I think. I get it. Like, I'm 100% ready, as I say, to put whatever is needed into the marketing in the run-up. But where is the point where you say, actually, I've dropped thousands on this, like thousands and thousands of pounds, just trying to get to speak to you and making that attention? Like, at what level do they say, okay, yeah, we'll reply to your email?
It's if anybody finds the answer, it's not one I've found. There's definitely not a silver bullet. I've looked for it. And so then when you do get to talk to a buyer, what do you think they're actually listening for?
I guess so we pitched previously and recently, actually, I think just before Christmas, to a retailer, the green retailer, and we ticked every box. Their shelves where we would sit were completely full of nuts. I mean, absolutely swamped with nuts. There's nuts for every person and beyond. And they needed something different. And the feedback that we got was, this is great. This really is great. But we don't want to take a risk on being your first big retailer. We don't think you're ready. Now, this is a bit like, how do you get a job without any experience? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a perpetual cycle. You know, you come straight out of university, you go for a graduate job, and they say, okay, well, where's your experience? Well, my degree is counted for that, surely. Like, you have to give me a chance on this graduate role. And it's the same with retailers. Like, we're in independents. We've got a rate of sale proven in these smaller independents. But if one retailer isn't going to give a challenger brand a chance, then which one will? Because if they're all saying it, then the supermarkets are never going to have that variation that they so desperately crave, but then aren't willing to do it.
I think it's such a great analogy you bring around a challenger brand being like a a postgrad or a recent grad from university and having the raw talent and the all the ingredients to make a success, but who's going to be the one that gives them the chance on the the highly subscribed to Ernst and Young grad scheme or whatever the big one is that's very oversubscribed. And how do you stand out? How do you if everybody's got a first and they've played sport to a county level and whatever
Yep.
else you put on your CV these days, how do you differentiate yourself? And it's what's going to be the tipping point?
I do think it varies per retailer. I also think it varies down to the individual buyer. And I do think luck has quite a lot to do with it. You get the buyer on the right day, you say the right things. It's just something that they're looking for at that particular time that they could have seen trending in a newspaper, or their boss has said, we actually need something that fits this box. It is almost like a right day, right time, right thing, right words that you've said type thing. And I guess from our perspective as the challenger brands, we just have to keep hitting and seeing what lands, because we all know that it's a good product and it is needed, and we've had that feedback. It's just a case of when and where.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you can think back to over the last 18 months or so, is there one mistake that you think you might have made looking back that you'd actively warn other challenger founders or challenger brands not to repeat?
Yes. Don't spend money on consultants that have no proven track record. Because we have historically spent a bit of cash on that and nothing ever comes through. It's a mistake that I think quite a lot of people will make in the early days of running a business. You have a great product. It's a perpetual cycle. You have this incredible product that you've poured your heart and soul into. You've poured over the language on the branding and the back of the pack and tried to make yourself stand out, and spent money on consultants for the legal text on the back of the pack. You've spent money on branding. You've spent money on your website being designed. And then you're like, this product is incredible. Why would anyone say no to me? And then they do say no, or your emails aren't responded to. And then you get to the point where you feel a little desperate. And that's where the LinkedIn messages come in and they say, I can do this for you and we will work on this. And I charge a retainer of X amount of thousands per month. And you think, do you know what? Okay, clearly I can't do it. Someone else must be able to get this over the line. And then you're 9 months in to a retainer with someone that hasn't managed to do anything, and you're suddenly out of pocket and they haven't even brought in their fee. So I would say think very carefully. If there's one piece of advice I could give, it is think carefully about who you are hiring, either in the actual job role or as a freelance consultant, because there are many people out there that can talk the talk, but can they walk the walk?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be an irony in my next statement, being a fractional commercial person. But one of the things I say to founders frequently, quite often when they tell me they don't think they can sell, one is, I don't agree with that. But the second point is, you will struggle to find anybody who will have the same passion for your brand and your business as you do as a founder.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're probably going to be one of the best salespeople for your brand. Probably. If you get to a point where capacity is a problem, that's maybe the right time to look for support or have coaching around selling. But I'll have frequent conversations with founders and think, actually, you don't need to hire in. You just need a bit of structure around your selling, because you're the passion point and nobody else could look after your baby as well as you might. So I think it's a very good warning, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people with half smiles or some scars when they hear you say that.
Yeah.
So on to the final question, and this is one that I ask everybody I speak to, and we might be doubling up, in which case I'll edit this out. But what's the one thing you want challengers listening to this to hear and learn from you?
I would say, aside from what I've just said, like, I think that's massive. Don't waste your money where you don't need to waste your money. I would say the biggest thing is that it is a long, hard slog. Don't think that this is going to happen overnight. It really isn't. And on the flip side of that, don't get disheartened. I think if you fully believe in your product and the product is decent enough and you're not getting negative feedback consistently, there is a market for your product. Just absolutely don't get disheartened, because it is probably, I'm quite lucky because I've got a team around me that are really great, and we can whine and moan about things that are happening in the business. But actually, we can also big each other up and be like, this will happen. We believe in this product, and there is multiple people around us that do believe in it. But if you're a single person doing this on your own, I'd say just don't give up. You started it for a reason. See it through.
Absolutely love that. Jazz, thank you so very much for giving us your thoughts, and it's refreshing to have the honesty that we don't always see from people, and that kind of fake it till you make it is I'm a supporter of that type of thing, but sometimes you then look at what you're doing and think, shit. So it's nice to hear some real kind of frontline. It isn't all roses and rainbows or whatever the phrase is, but you got to keep going and keep hustling. And you've made me feel very underdressed. Thanks for dressing up for the occasion. And we will see you on shelves and next time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to it going live.
All right, Mighty Minute. The takeaway here is retail's hard. Not everyone tells you that. Getting a buyer's attention isn't easy, nor is winning the pitch when you do get their attention. So be resilient, think creatively, and keep going. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. If you can think of anyone else who might get value from it, please share it with them. I'm always on the lookout for new guests and new topics, so please get in touch. Either on TikTok or Instagram, I'm at Makin Mighty. My website is makinmighty.com, or just give me an email, makinmighty@gmail.com. And I'll catch you next time, challengers.